Well, hello everybody. How you doing? Dave Fennoy here, and welcome to another Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. Got some great guests. Let me turn that light out. It's gonna blind me. I've got some great guests, some great friends. But before I introduce them, let's what do they say? Let's take care of a little business here. A couple of things. For those of you who are looking for instruction from me, you can stop by davefenoy.com and book yourself for 1, 2, 5, 10 lessons. Also, Connection Open is trying to get you to check them out, and I use Connection Open when I can. It's not quite as well known as Source Connect, but it's very good. And if you sign up and do lessons with me, they'll give you 20% off what you would normally be paying. So that's a pretty good deal. And I think if you just sign up and, yeah, well, you'll work it out. And would love to have you there. And, well, let's introduce our guests. I call them, well, here they are, the dynamic duo, Joan and Rudy. Joan Baker, Rudy Gaskins.
Hey, I don't know if you knew this, but Rudy and I are now joined at the hip.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you guys have
we've
been
been
joined
talking
at you guys have been joined at the hip for a long time.
indeed.
25 years.
25 years. And you must have been a child when you got together. And now Rudy is, he looks, are you dyeing your hair, Rudy? Is that it?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Was that for me?
Yes.
Hey, I'm a just for men guy.
Okay, because I've got all this gray hair, so. Anyway,
Yeah.
we go back a long way. Joan, I knew you first. I think we met when we were both part of the the union negotiations for promos in New York. I think that's where I met you.
Wait, Dave, I think we met at Promax in San Francisco. It was the year they were in San Francisco, and we met at the AFTRA promo party.
Okay.
And I think we danced. They
Okay.
had music going.
Well,
Yeah, I think
knowing me, it's a very good chance that we danced.
She's great with memorizing dates and occasions. It's unbelievable.
It's a woman thing. They remember
Yeah.
things that we don't, which doesn't help us at all as guys.
no,
What do you mean? I don't remember when I said that. When did I say that? No, you said it.
You never even got a chance to meet my father, but I turn to her and say, "When did my dad die again? What year was it?" She'll let me know.
March 1994.
Oh boy. Oh boy. But you guys have become a real force in the voiceover industry. The things that you have accomplished are just amazing. And I want to start with Joan with your book. Tell me uh, what inspired you, and what's the story of the? Yeah, I don't know if you can see it right here. The secrets of voiceover success. Well, you can't see it right there, but I've got it right here. When the camera's right, it'll go on it. But what inspired you to write that, or
You,
have some of
you
us
didn't,
write it?
so you didn't know. You didn't know the inspiration. Ah, okay. First of all, you do have the original book because the original book had the die cut in it.
Yeah.
So I'm very
Oh no,
impressed.
this is the OG. I mean,
This is
I know I might know some of the story. I know um, Alzheimer's was involved,
involved. Yeah, exactly.
and that's what the all the proceeds go to. But
That's right.
what made you come up with? I mean, you could have done any number of things,
You're
uh,
right.
but
You're right.
but why this?
I I was actually in a class, and it was a very special class. It was called uh, self-expression and leadership, and it was a course that was very unique in the sense that we had to identify the different communities in our life. And once we did that, we had to create a project. It just so happened my father passed away from Alzheimer's like 2 months before. So that was still, and the grieving was still on my mind and on my heart. So when I took this class, it was literally a 3 month class.
Mm.
So after identifying the communities, they said, which one do you want to influence the most? And I felt like, of course, it would be the voiceover community. In my mind, I was thinking I wanted to give back something
Mm-hmm.
to an industry that seemed to open their arms to me where no other industry in show business had. So I felt like I wanted to give back something special. So I did not know how to write a book, and this course did not teach that, but I literally did everything from scratch. I created an action plan. At the end of the 3 months of the course, I said I would get a literary agent. I said I'd get a contract with a publishing company. And I said that I would have the book overview done. I don't remember the name of it now, that there's a technical name for it, but it's like an overview of the book. It's
Mm-hmm.
like um, 3 chapters of the book. So I said I would get all this done. So along the way, and I also had a coach in the class. So
And you
the
had to be accountable to your coach.
that's right. That's right. And the coach was like, "You're so far beyond me. Like, you're so like well past your action plan." Yeah. I mean, I was on fire about it. Yeah. So I created the concept. I enrolled Rudy, and he helped me really crystallize it. I knew I wanted to write a book. I knew I wanted to involve uh, people like you, Dave, which I had met literally, 7 years before. I never forgot that.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to do that. Rudy helped me crystallize the book. And I enrolled, actually, it was 20 people originally. Originally, the book was called Room with a Voice. It was going to have a subtitle to it, so you knew that it was about voiceover. And so one of the things that I said was that I would get a literary agent in 3 months. I did. At the end of my action plan, like I said, I got a literary agent. I also happened to get a contract from a medium-sized book publishing company. I was blown away. And I had the overview done. So I had already sent the overview out. I'm telling you, I was on fire about it. I would even write in the subject line, overview on fire. Time to read.
Well, it has become one of the most popular reads in voiceover. And for those who don't know, um, Joan didn't have to do a whole lot of the writing herself. What she did do, though, she got in touch with, what was it at the time, 21?
Well, it was 20, and then one had to drop out because of a crisis in
Okay.
their life. So 19.
But so 19 voice actors who were having good careers, and
Yeah.
we all got to tell our stories, which I think is a brilliant idea because this isn't a career like, oh, I'm going to this school and now I've got that degree and now I'm going to apply for this job and they're going to hire me and I'm going to get a raise every 6 months. This is not that kind of career. And how each and every one of us gets started and gets going and continues our career is different.
That's right.
So you managed to get some of the most successful people in voiceover to tell their own personal stories and inspire thousands and thousands of people.
I, I did I didn't realize it was going to. I just was so focused on getting it done because I got it done in less than a year and a half in terms of by the time I got a publisher and by the time I had to rewrite some of it or I had to add on to some of it to make it complete.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I discovered about the book was that there was or in my research, that there was a history behind voiceover because at the time, people would say, "Oh, I have a great voice." Now, I mean, now we're a little past that, but I have a great voice. Where do I start? Where do I start making money? So I wanted people to know that there was a history to voiceover, and it didn't just start out of nothing, or it didn't just start in the 60s. It actually started in Greek theater, in Greek times, right?
Yes.
So I wanted people to know that there was something really grounded to it. I also, and as you just said, discovered that everyone has a very special story as to how they got into show business, so that when people read the book, you can identify with the different people, with the range and diversity of different stories and how people broke in and what they had to do once they broke in, right? So you could actually go, I can really identify with Dave's story, get inspired by that, and have some guidance into what it takes. how you did it, some of the pitfalls, some of the glory behind it.
And
But
up until that point, every book that had been written about voice acting came from one point of view.
Yes.
right,
Yes.
And there's no way anybody was going to get much traction looking at just one person's journey.
And,
So
and a
that
lot,
was
you know, and there's something to be said for people need heroes that look like them.
Yes.
And you've got a very diverse group of people, men, women, black, white, other.
Yep.
Uh, so it has touched a lot of people's lives. And it's one of my proud accomplishments to be in that book. You know, I didn't make any money for it or anything like that, but to be there is special, along with so many wonderful voice actors. Before we keep going, which we will, a couple people want to say hello. Tara Langella, hi Dave, Joan, and Rudy. And let's see. Rhonda D. Hall says she's glad to be here. Michael Glover says, hi, Joan and Rudy. I'm just a man guy as well. I'm a just for men guy as well. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it. Let's see. We're going to have a question coming up. Venus Croots, Joan and Rudy, love you guys. Okay. Christopher Lewis, Dave Fennoy, and the first couple of VO. Wow. It's a must watch tonight. And there's more, and we will get to some questions as well. But you guys met when, Rudy, you were looking for a promo voice for some ABC stuff. Is that not correct?
That's right. We were looking for someone, a new voice to do a special for Peter Jennings, the late Peter Jennings. And they hadn't used a female voice for about 7 or 8 years, they told me.
Mm-hmm.
Just by and by. Didn't think anything of it. We had a set number of guys we worked with all the time, so fine. I just did my job. I was new there. But they gave me this piece for Peter Jennings that was about women's health. And I wrote it with women in mind, and I talked to women about, the script, and I came up with this thing, and it hit. I said, well, boss, I didn't call him boss, Fred, should we hire a woman to do this gig? I didn't even think it was an issue. And he looked at me and he said, sure, why not? And his secretary screams from the other room, Joan Baker's reel's been sitting on your desk for 3 days. Why don't you listen? And this is what I hear. I don't know Joan from Adam, of course, or Reed. And so we look around, we find it, we pop it in. This is on a cassette, baby.
Oh, man, we're going way back. Yeah, God dang it. Some of these people don't know what a cassette is.
That's right, Dave. A cassette.
I hadn't listened to voice actors. I came to ABC and they already had 6 guys that they used all the time.
Yeah.
So I never had to audition a voice actor. So we listened, and he looked at me and said, she'll do. And that was it.
Nothing like, oh, she's great. Oh, I love her. No, she'll do.
Yeah.
That's a
But
great
just
compliment.
coming from Fred Homestead, who was the executive producer of all of ABC's promotions, that was a compliment.
Yes, it was, because she got hired.
Yeah.
And she'll she'll make some money.
Yeah. 3 hours later, we were working together.
Okay, and how long before y'all started dating? I know I'm getting in your business. We're supposed to be talking voiceover, but
Yeah. 6 months later, I think.
It was. I met Rudy on his birthday. That day happened to be his birthday.
Oh, and what a surprise! What a present!
What a gift! I met him on his birthday, and then I'm not kidding. It just so happened he called me on my birthday, and when he called me, he said he didn't know. He called me on my birthday. He said,
Yeah,
"I know, right?"
So my birthday was May 20th. Hers was October 14th. It still is. And that was how long it was before I actually called her.
And when he called, he was slick. He said, I just want to make sure that you got your piece, because I was supposed to get the piece. And he said, and I, wanted to know if you wanted to have some coffee with me. And I said, sure. So, but we didn't have the coffee date until October 24th. And we got married exactly 4 years later on October 24th. And our wedding was a coffee-themed wedding.
So everybody was buzzed at the wedding.
Everyone was like, right?
Now here though, Dave, when I called Joan, I got a voicemail. the first time I called her. And I made very clear my voicemail. Hello, Miss Baker. This is Rudy Gassers from ABC News. This is not about work.
You get that, right?
Yeah, well, you know that dating in the office can be treacherous. but
It can be.
but now everybody knows your story. But let's swing it back into voiceover. After you working for a long time, you guys working together, doing a number of projects together, how did you come up with the idea of, hey, let's put on a voiceover convention?
It happened organically through the book signings that we did. Through Secrets of Voiceover. I don't know if you remember, but we started out in books, right?
I remember being at a number of those book signings.
Yes.
Yeah.
We went to the Museum of the Moving Image. That was something that I worked on behind the scenes for a year before that manifested.
Mm-hmm.
So it led the different book signings that turned in a little bit more into events. And with Rudy producing, I knew that they were going to be kick-ass.
Yeah.
And no one else, there was no one else doing it, but it came out organically from the book signings. And also they were very popular. Remember the Learning Annex, Make with Your Voice?
Yeah.
They were so popular that it just kind of evolved. And then one day we like in 2008, we did a book signing, and it was at the Time Center. I think you were there too. And Jim Dale came, and also Richard Thomas. It was that event that we kind of involved the audience into reading copy and getting coached by the people on the dais. And it was after that that Rudy and I discussed it. And Rudy said to me, he said, what do you think would be like the greatest thing that a voice actor would want if they were at a convention? Boom, a job. So that's voiceover was created. And from the very beginning, we created a talent spotlight where there was a real job available. And that's even grown. 2020, it's grown to be a very prominent way for agents and CBS and getting a Neumann microphone and equipment and all that. But it's turned into something really prominent, the platform of the talent spotlight. Every year now, agents are looking at the 6 people, the finalists that get, to the final 6, to the person that gets the job. I can't even tell you, Rudy and I receive, like, literally every year, incredible emails from people just from that alone, where they got an agent, where they got a job, where they, casting director really connected with them and started sending them auditions.
And they didn't have to win. These are people who, whatever you want to call it, second place, third place, out of the 6, one person wins, but the other 5 get a lot of attention.
Well, absolutely. I look at things like the San Francisco Comedy Competition, and the person who wins, generally, that's it. We never hear from them again, but number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 become huge stars. Fantastic. So, and that had to be just a gargantuan mountain to climb of work to put on every year. And then you decided to do an award show?
Yeah. Again, like Joan said about the event coming about organically, the award show also came about organically because we were just so impressed with the level of talent and expertise that we were seeing from folks like yourself on stage and the panels, and how that was impacting the audience. We said, boy, no one's recognizing these people for what they do and what they know and understand. And here we are in an industry that is abundantly clear in the entire world. It's in our lives. It's in the air. It's the air we breathe. Voiceover,
people's lives.
Voiceover is all over the place without us even thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And no one's saying, hey, that was good or that was great or who recognized that person.
The only recognition was getting hired or not hired. And and of course everybody welcomed the idea of you two producing an award show for voiceover with joy and open arms and how wonderful, please, yes, do it, right?
Yeah, it was like walking into heaven. Yeah, there was quite a bit of resistance and a lot of misunderstanding. I mean, a lot of folks in voiceover had never competed in awards programs and had never been in an environment where awards were part of that system. So they were confused and just didn't understand how it worked. And people thought, oh, I can just nominate myself and then I'm in like that. Or shouldn't I get in for free? Shouldn't they analyze my work, study it, and put on a show and I just walk in and grab the trophy?
What,
So
well,
there was a lot of misconceptions and concerns about how it was being produced, what it was exactly, and because this industry is the way it is, whether there might be something scammy going on.
yeah.
And that we got to investigate and make sure there isn't something scammy going on with these people. So we had to fight through all of that, and
Well,
just keep
and I
that up.
and I think you've proven that it's nothing but quality. The people that you recognize are not just what I will call our journeyman voiceover actors. That this is what we do and this is what we're known for. And maybe our faces aren't that well known, uh, but people who are touching other industries as well and
Right.
voiceover. Who are some of the celebrities who have won awards from you guys, been recognized?
Keith David, James Earl Jones.
I was
Um,
there for James Earl Jones. I got to meet him. As a
Yeah,
matter of fact,
yeah.
I took a picture with him. He told me it was his first selfie.
Oh my God.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah,
Really, Dave.
yeah.
William Shatner, Lily Tomlin, Ving Rhames,
Jim Burns,
Jim Burns,
Rosario Dawson.
Rosario,
We
and
got Aaron Brockovich in there because, besides voiceover, we also extend the whole idea of the voice into, what do we do with our voices as advocates for society, for the environment, for humanity. And so we created the Voice Arts Environmental Award and the Muhammad Ali Voice of Humanity Honor. And that first one, the first environmental award, went to Aaron Brockovich, which was very exciting. And who would be presenting it to her? None other than the sergeant from Oscar-winning
oh yeah,
sergeant
Lou Gossett Jr.
Oh, Louis Gossett Jr. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But we thought that voice acting literally is the hub, but creating other outlets so that we could even kind of promote the voice of this community, the voice of that community, the voice of humanity, and that's how we see it. And so, for example, we partnered with the Muhammad Ali Center. As a matter of fact, that Muhammad Ali Award, we pitched to the Ali Center, and Muhammad Ali actually signed off on it 2 months before he died.
Oh my
Our
goodness.
award is the only award in his likeness at all. Because of his
Wow.
religion, he,
Just
Oh, yeah.
can't do it.
Islam is not about your face
Yeah.
and your image
Yeah.
being presented anywhere.
Dave, that's
So
right.
we had to sit down and talk through that, not with him, but with his people,
And Lonnie.
and
And Lonnie.
yeah, and his wife.
So I don't know how. I don't know how, but we did it, and he signed off on it. And we were all excited to meet him because we were set to meet him, and then he passed away. So, also what makes the award special is that he signed off on it before he passed away, as opposed to it was an afterthought after he
Yeah.
died.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm not sure I'm revealing anything people don't know, but at that very first one, I think for your first couple, I was a booth announcer for the first one, and I think I shared the duties with on the second or third. And then you said, "Oh, we've abused him enough." And the award show has gotten so good, but that very first one, as wonderful as it was, wow, so much. When you're looking at award shows, because I've NAACP Image Awards, I did about 15 years of those, and various music award, Billboard Music Awards, Teen Choice Awards, and a bunch of other stuff. And
It's that professionalism.
well, you're talking about people who have been producing award shows for decades.
Yeah.
So there, when you have the people who are being nominated, there's a whole package that you recorded beforehand. There was somebody there to tell you how to pronounce the names of the people with weird names. Uh,
True.
well, on this award show, the very first one, every word that was said by the announcer was said live. And all those audiobooks with all those authors and authors from all over the world, I felt like I was a sports announcer at the Olympics. The names were so bizarre. Um,
Yeah.
and actually, that's one of the things I like about the award show is that you recognize so many categories of voiceover, of which audiobooks has become probably the most time consuming in the award show.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
We've had to
definitely
limit this.
prominent. Yeah, we've had to limit. I mean, we're fine tuning every year. And so, and basically it's me and Rudy doing the grunt work and doing the polished work and behind, just all the behind the scenes. I'm telling you, it literally is 24/7.
Oh,
And
I
it's
believe
been
you.
that way since 2014. Even though the Voice Arts Awards started with Keith David in 2013, actually the category started in 2014. And I'm not kidding. When we do get a vacation, I'm literally like da 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 every night. I desperately, both Marie and I, we desperately need a vacation. As a matter of fact, I'm not kidding you. Our therapist one year paid for us to go to the Dominican Republic.
You
He
must have been
paid
driving your therapist crazy.
for 10
Yeah,
years,
exactly.
because he knew the woes.
Yeah.
He really knew the woes, and he was really, uh, digging deep for our mental capacity to be fine tuned. It takes every bone and it takes every mental capacity, and as time goes on, things expand, things grow, things shift. So we have a new routine that we have to learn, and it's just not easy.
Well, the thing I notice is that every year it improves by leaps and bounds. You've got a particularly interesting challenge in 2020, like the rest of
Yeah.
us, with everything that's going on.
Right.
But I'm already seeing people who are, hey, I'm a judge. I'm happy to be there. Hey, am I a judge, by the way, this year?
Yeah.
Okay, that maybe I missed the email. I just wondered. Hey, listen, let me share some other things. Listen, Dan O'Leary says, Joan's book lit the fire under me to get going on this journey. Thanks for sharing the advice of so many VO greats. It's the resource I return to for inspiration.
Oh, I love it, Dan.
And this may get into a question here. Michael Glover, hey, Joan and Rudy, I'm using the Scarlett 212, 2i2 interface, but I need to upgrade to something more expectable for big studios. I'm thinking about the Universal Audio Twin MK Duo 10.6 Thunderbolt audio interface, about $800. Would that cut it?
I'd say ask his lawyer.
Well, you know what? Since you're dodging that question, I'll say no. That'll do it. That will do it for you, Michael. And one of the things I like about it is instead of now, that's the interface, but it also comes with software, and you can add like an Avalon plugin. So instead of paying a couple $1,000s for the physical Avalon, you can have it doing the exact same thing as a plugin computerized, and for a couple $100s or something like that. And there's some free ones that come when you buy it. So I think, and that Universal Audio, excuse me, Apollo Twin, and now they've got an Apollo Quad that I'm using. Very good, very good. It's the direction the industry is going. So Joan, let's see.
Second that answer. I second it.
Rhoda D. Hall Joe and I lost my father in 2011, and he had a dementia. Your book was very relatable. I enjoyed reading it and have gained so much knowledge for voiceover. Thank you. And I don't know why he's only saying hello to you, Rudy, but Gabriel Kunda saying, hey, Rudy.
Oh yeah. How you doing, Gabrielle?
He's hell of a talent.
Yeah, he is.
Venus, awesome
And
book. Loved everyone's story. Um, Invaluable. Thanks, Joan, Rudy, and Dave. I'm just going through here because there's so many comments. Uh,
Really?
oh, yeah. Iona Morris. Hi, Joan, Rudy, and Dave. Sending love. Woohoo. Uh,
Iona put that first show at the Directors Guild.
yes, she did.
I
Yes, she
do
did.
say
She directed it.
with Keith
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
love
Thomas Machen, Joan, wow, and Rudy. How did Dave convince you to spend time with us?
It's called He's Gonna Pay for Our Vacation this year.
No, no, no.
We do
That's. I'm not your therapist.
We go way back with Dave,
We
and,
go
and
way
he has
back.
given up his time and spirit
And
and
love.
intellect.
You
all
know,
the way.
I've always thought what you were doing was worthy. And being somebody, I dabbled in producing movies for a little bit and realized it wasn't for me because it was too much work. So I know what it takes to produce and to have all those pieces that you have to get together and all those people that you have to keep in line and the insurance and the venue and the payments and the food and the this and the that and then of course, Joan, there are your wardrobe changes.
Thank you.
That's right. At least two of those.
um, from Jen Henry. All of us have met, so there's a remote chance I'm welling up looking at the three of you in the same frame. Oh, it's just how I roll. Love you guys. Thank you, Jen.
Jen, you're all heart.
And let's see. Well, you know what? The thing you guys are doing now, the State of VO, the podcast that you're doing.
Very cool.
Very cool. I haven't gotten to watch it a lot. I've only had time to catch excerpts because I'm as busy as you guys. Tell us about some of the guests and some of the discussions you've had, because the State of VO is constantly changing. I was reading that article about thedevilvoices.com, and they're saying, well, the union work is going away. We're just, the agents are going away, and we're just wonderful, and everything else is different.
Ghostwriting going on.
What are some of the important discussions you've had? Gist of them.
I think what's important about the discussions is that we're looking at the state of VO in terms of where are we? How do we speak from the edge of where this industry is and look outward from there and try to give people something they can grab onto that will leave them, better prepared that very next morning or in that moment to do what it is they love to do.
Yeah.
So we try not to keep going back to how things worked yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
But what can you bring to it to help it work better tomorrow? So we challenge all of our guests to think about that and to try to bring that to their answers. It's not a test for them. They are who they are, and they're going to speak from their hearts. But that's kind of the idea behind the state.
What have been some of the best answers you've gotten about if you're starting out now, or perhaps you're mid-level and trying to hit the next plateau? What are some of the great ideas that came up from people?
Well, one thing I'm going to say is that I sometimes notice people saying, I've had a booth for 25 years. What do you mean it's about home studios now? Well, not every market had home studios that were broadcast quality, meaning New York City was one of them. Yeah. We always went to casting agents. We always went to advertising agencies and our agents. We didn't necessarily have a booth. Now, I do, but not a lot of people do. So what got real was creating a home studio that could land as broadcast quality and to have nimble at your fingertips. You don't have to be a sound engineer, but you do have to really get down certain aspects of a home studio so that you can compete. Things like people are starting to ask for pictures of your home studio because buyers are starting to do this, as well as videotaping your studios. So this has become critical. And I don't think it's going to change, although I would love to go back to a recording studio, believe me.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. So the quality of your studio is going to be important, and you learning the ropes
Yeah.
is going to be important.
Yeah.
One of the one. Go ahead.
Another thing that has come up for me is that your coach doesn't have all the answers, and you shouldn't expect them to. You have to think for yourself. You have to be an innovator. You have to think about, what can I do? Use your imagination. What can I do to forward my career? And stop looking for these 3 best ways to do this and the 6 best ways to do that. Come up with ways to do things.
You know, it's interesting you say that. I find that, you know, you hit a certain age and there's things you know, but there's a world going on around you that you may not really be a part of. I know a lot about the video game industry because I'm in the video game industry. If I weren't, I probably wouldn't. I know a lot about technology that I might not know, except that I want to stay relevant in this. So I have to learn. And so I've seen people over the years decide that, oh, I don't want that beeper, I don't want that cell phone, I don't want to put a studio in my home, and thinking that they are indispensable, and the world leaves them right where they are and goes on without them. So I think it's incumbent upon whoever you are, if you just are, learn the new shit. Stop stopping yourself. Well, hey, I've been doing this for years. There's a certain amount of truth. I've been doing this for years. I know what I'm doing, but there's always something new to learn.
Yeah. Yes. A wonderful thing that I heard from one of our guests, Scott Brick, and the question was asked, and this is a question that you hear all the time, which relates to, I have a great voice, and we all know that's not everything. But they were centering around this whole idea of the voice and what your voice sounds like, and they asked Scott, you know, how does he think about his voice when he's working? And Scott's answer was, I don't think about my voice when I'm working. I never think about my voice. I'm busy acting and being involved in the role and the emotion that I'm being called to express. And that kind of stopped everyone.
Yeah. By the way, Scott Brick is on next week here.
Oh, really? We'll let you say the rest. But another thing that has come out, and this is since George Floyd, that whole fiasco is centered on being more inclusive and diverse with casting choices. And I have to say, I have never had so many auditions in my life with now that in mind.
Yeah.
And I think that people like us have moved the dial forward on the topic. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, I am actually seeing those results. I'm actively seeing them. And I really appreciate that. But that didn't happen until now, COVID and George Floyd.
Well, yeah, George Floyd and COVID brought up a number of things. There was a young lady, a young white woman that, you know, had a fake black woman site for video games and cartoons and what. Oh, yeah. I'm surprised you guys hadn't heard about that. That, you know, I've heard many actors say, well, you know, I'm an actor. I'm not playing myself. I play other characters. And I go, well, and all that's well and good. But we are a multi-racial, multi-sexual, many things society, religious society. And what we're looking for is participation, or at least the opportunity for participation from a wide variety of people. So it's okay that, oh, you know what, this is a black character, we're only going to look for black actors. This is a Latin character, we're only looking for Spanish speakers. This is whatever it is.
Because the pool is deep.
The pool is deep.
So there's no reason not to be drawing from everywhere that you can.
Yeah.
And not only that, you're going to be acting. So it's the argument of, well, I'm an actor, I can do anything. Actually,
you can't. You can't. Yeah.
Right? And there's a reason why they created the character black, or there's a reason why they created the character Hispanic. Right. So then why wouldn't you cast that?
Yeah.
you're still going to be acting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look at the
right?
number of big cartoon actors uh, that are giving up roles now that they've had for uh, a
Right.
dozen years.
20 years, right? They got
Yeah.
their homes with these
Yeah.
characters,
Yeah.
right? Right.
Ah.
It's also a great time for producers to speak up when they're in their board meetings at the television networks, at the cable stations, and the film production companies. They no longer have to take it when someone says, "Oh, we really want a man's voice on that," or "We really want a woman's voice on that," or it shouldn't be a black voice; it should be a Middle American voice. No, we want to spread the wealth. Why?
Well,
Why not?
because we have so much diversity, a wide variety of different kinds of voices now are the American voice. Uh,
Yeah.
they're very dissimilar, but they are the American voice. So there's no one just, oh, well, that's what American sounds like. There's a lot of things that an American sounds like.
Central Ohio.
Right. Where Dave's from.
Yeah, well, and I grew up in Ohio. I've got that flat Midwestern nothing voice. It's the no accent American accent.
That is not true.
Well, it always feels like that to me. Uh, but I remember, like, Tim Conway came from Cleveland. Ernie Anderson came from Cleveland. There's a lot of voice actors who came from Cleveland, who had that. Wasn't East Coast, wasn't West Coast, it wasn't Southern, it was
Right.
this thing.
Right. Yes.
But there's so much texture in all these accents from different parts of the country. And then, of course, expand out to different parts of the world. We hear voices from everywhere now. I remember being in a SAG after, well, I guess it was just after then, and after voiceover panel, and it was at a time when you were telling people, oh, well, you're going to have to lose that accent or lessen it, and now I just, hey, look, keep the accent. You want to learn some other ones? Great. But hang on to that. It's going to come in handy.
But I do think speech and diction is a requirement, not necessarily to lessen your accent, although it may, but really it's to explore your instrument.
Yes.
And it's an avenue to do that. So it's also an area that can't be ignored either. I mean, I think, there's these job requirements to voiceover. That is definitely one of them if you want to enrich the experience that in the craft,
Yeah.
through the craft, right?
Sure.
Well, let's see.
Authenticity is a big thing right now. And
The authentic read.
the authentic read, the natural read, and all that authenticity means what is the authentic listening experience for an American? And it's all these voices that you're talking about. And so you have to include all of them if you want the buyers, the consumer.
Yeah. And what is oh, I think you guys froze. Are you there? Are you there? Oh, there you go. Oh, you were frozen for a minute. Or that wasn't a joke where you would go. Oh boy, let's see. A lot of comments here, a lot of questions I'm not going to be able to get to. Here's one. Let's see what it is. Stacy Bongo, hi you two. What are your thoughts on beginning voice actors doing very low-paying jobs, i.e. game dev auditions via Twitter, to get the experience? I know that you don't recommend things like Voices 1, 2, 3.
Well, I mean, I do think of course, there are these outlets that weren't, 10 or 12 or 15 years ago. There are these other outlets. I actually think from the years of experience, although I've been on the periphery, I've not been an active person on Voices 1, 2, 3 or Voice.com. I don't really know that world, but I do teach a lot of people that are in that world, and every single one of them, and I've been teaching since 1991. I'm not sure when pay to play started to come in. Every single person I have coached, without me saying anything, wants to get out of it. Because when they experience what voiceover is really about, they don't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
And I don't have to say anything. It's just from the experience of working and from the perspective and experience that I'm coaching from, that after a while they realize it's not worth it. So it's not like I would discourage anyone from not doing it. It's just that eventually you're probably going to get out of it.
You're,
It's going to be difficult.
you
You
know,
get out?
everybody has to start somewhere. And
Yeah.
I know when I look where I started for voiceover, I was writing copy at a radio station, trying to get on as a disc jockey, and started voicing some of those. And then I got to do a lot of voiceover as a disc jockey that really wasn't voiceover. Because it was at 70 seconds worth of copy that you had to do in 60 about the car dealer down the street, and it was mostly phone numbers, percentages, and directions to get there. Uh, and that's not what voiceover is. People want to do the kinds of things that they're seeing on television, that they're and we've expanded way beyond television and radio now, of course, because there's so many areas for corporate videos and explainer videos, and audiobooks has just exploded.
So there's outlets that you speak of that you can explore and kind of find your niche, or as I like to say, the jobs you book end up being your niche, as opposed to I say, I want to do this. That may or may not happen. The industry will dictate your niche, right?
Yeah.
And once it does, you go with it. But you probably won't find your niche in a pay-to-play site
No.
because too many people on them. There's 120,000 people on a pay-to-play site, and hundreds of people for one job. I mean, it's just kind of an odd.
I was at VO Atlanta, your competitor, a few years ago, and I walked into a discussion. I wasn't on the panel. I just walked into the room, and it was union versus non-union, and MrsVoices.com was talking about. It had gotten very heated when I walked in, and at that time she said something about the 7,500 people that she had at that time, and this is 10 years ago. And I said, wait a minute, they're paying 7,500 people times 4. And I thought, oh my goodness, they are making a fortune. And that's so many people to weed through on all those auditions. I used to test out voices 1, 2, 3, and the biggest issue for me was if you didn't do that audition within 15, 20 minutes, it was gone. Whether you were right for it or not.
That is a very bad habit to set up. I really feel like the pay-to-play sites, I coined them as the unregulated world of voiceover, and I call the when you have an agent, whether it's union or non-union, I call that the regulated world of voiceover. And in the unregulated world, you literally have to take out a weed whacker and start cutting, because it's not really the setup in the regulated world. It's like a completely different setup. So the muscles that you're developing are going to end up being something backwards that you're going to have to relearn once you switch to the regulated world.
Yeah.
Right? So I just don't recommend them. But what I do think is, and I think this is in general, most people don't know how to sell themselves. So
or feel uncomfortable doing it.
Yes, that's right. And so it ends up being the type of thing where, I'll go on a pay-to-play site, or, I'll do something on the side. And it's literally like slave wages, what you would get paid, if you're even going to get paid. You don't really know who to pursue once you do the job, if you don't get paid.
If you don't get paid. You don't have a union behind you to go collect your money.
Right.
Nor anybody putting money away in your pension, so that when you hit a certain age and you either want to retire or just need a little more money coming in, there it is.
I do think there are a handful of people that do make a living, and they're really happy about, being on Fiverr and some of these other sites. But that's literally a handful compared to, having an agent and a union, or even a non-union.
Yeah, that's the anecdotal evidence that those sites will put forward, and some of those people would put forward to why it's working. Well, it worked for me; it should work for you.
performers, it's a bad idea to use those sites for practice. I hear a lot of newbies saying, "Oh, it's a great way for me to just practice and get scripts." But I said, "But you're building horrible habits. If you're not learning how to analyze the script and develop a character and really understand the specs of the script because you're rushing to get an audition in within 20 minutes, you're developing horrible habits for becoming, a master of the craft."
Yeah.
You have to learn later
Yeah.
if you see the business. And also too, I think that people more than not are incredibly frustrated. So it's not like you're learning anything because in your mind you're still hoping you're going to get a job. It's still colored with that. So it's really not a clean motive to say, "Oh, I'll be learning." No, you really want to get a job.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And again, I think one of the hardest things right now, because it's definitely the carrot before the horse, or the horse before the carrot, is listening back to your own work and being objective. That actually takes years.
Yeah.
And what I find when I work with people is I have them send me like their best work. I'll give them homework. I'll have them send me their best work just to hear where their ear is at. And most people send back what they think
is their best work, yeah. And they're sending back what they think sounds good as opposed to what connects.
No, exactly. And so because most people are listening with the ear of getting their needs met. So you're not necessarily clean listening to your work. So even if you are learning, you may be sending in work that's never going to get you a job, even if they hear it.
You're learning the wrong thing.
Yes, you need a witness. You need a witness with objective ears that knows what they're listening to and that can break it down for you so that you start to absorb what you're hearing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right?
Let me go ahead. Go ahead.
I just had and to open up to direction.
Yeah.
You have to be coachable, directable.
Yeah, that's huge.
Hey, Randy Thomas weighed in here. Well, now this is from before. True, they want to know equipment in your studio. Both photos and videotape is wonderful to have for insurance purposes as well. Because if we're talking about the people requesting the information about your studios and pictures and videos, and the pictures and videos, if you don't have a pit bull like I do and somebody breaks into your house and steals all your stuff, you got pictures, unless they stole those too. Oh, let's see. Sandra Patterson Dyson, what do you think about specs that ask for $8,000 in equipment?
I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of that either. I'm not quite sure how to answer that. Let's see. Christopher Lewis, hey, it's 2020, and as I now refer to it, the year that shall not be named. The COVID has everybody in their closets and home studios got to adapt and overcome. Yeah, I'm not sure we're going back to what we were before.
Because as we know, when crises have happened, whether it's a union strike or something in life, usually show business shifts in such a way that it doesn't necessarily go back. It takes on whatever the crisis manifested, and then it moves forward from that. But it doesn't go back.
And going back isn't automatically a good thing just because now is worse, just because we're going through something turbulent. Doesn't mean that what we had before is where we want to go next.
Yeah.
Let's move forward,
Absolutely.
But I definitely do want recording studios up and running. Believe me.
Okay, I think this is somebody new. Red Matos. I have a silly question that someone in the comments might be able to answer. Where do you actually go for an audition? Is an agent mandatory or being union? Okay, I'll start. You guys didn't jump in. You got to start someplace. When I started, there was no internet. I had to find work. I was working at a radio station. I was a disc jockey, but I had to find work, and it just meant doing some research. There are people who will use a Craigslist and look up, voiceover jobs. There's Mandy.com. There are theatrical newspapers that have jobs for voices. You just have to dig, 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 dig. You can find the chambers of commerce for various businesses that you might want to be involved with. There are ways to do it, but that takes a lot of your time, and you're going to have to be circumspect about. I'm going to every 1 hour every day or 2 hours every day, whatever it's going to take, and you got to circle back to the people and the people that it takes a lot of time. You can do it. People have, but
we did because we didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But now also that question assumes that this person has a dynamite demo reel and has the equipment available to him and is available to jump on a job if it shows up.
Yeah.
So we're talking about you're already a pro.
Yeah.
And now you're asking, where do I go to get work outside of my agent?
Yeah, it brings up for me demos. I tell my students if I'm producing a demo, and the only ones I do now are video games, so don't, and I don't want to be demo producer guy, but your demo has to be better than mine because I'm getting work from auditions and from reputation. There's somebody behind me. There's Mo.
I came back. I was being professional, so I had to leave.
let me.
Everyone, this is Dave's wife, Mo.
Say hey, baby.
Hey, you guys. You guys are gorgeous. My heart is smiling.
Oh.
It is.
I feel your mic for sister.
Yeah.
Bam. Okay. I had to go be professional with the foo fancy people at the USC Medical School. So
there's a lot of people watching and listening.
Oh no! Oh, I thought you were finished. I'm out. Bye.
Give me some sugar.
Bye, you guys.
That's my wife. Oh, I love it. Okay. Couple quick questions. So, what's a good first microphone to get when starting out? Name is Bada like Jada. Or Beta like Jada.
If you got the money, go with the Neumann or a Sennheiser.
Yeah.
Get a 416.
Or get a 102 or 103.
Yeah.
Especially. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that the 102 and the 103 was made for voiceover, where the other microphones were more singer-based and then voiceover adapted. But the 102 and the 103 are actually made for voiceover. So
and the 103 costs less than U87. It's the same capsule, but it's much more forgiving of the room that you're in. And like you say, the 102 is $600, which is a good price for a mic. And of course, the 103 and the Sennheiser 416 are industry standard. There are a lot of good microphones out there, but especially in the world we're in now where they're asking, well, tell me about your studio. What microphones do you have? It's not the time necessarily to go with an off-brand.
That's right. Or a cheap brand.
Budget-wise, and you got to do what you have to do, but then ask the question differently.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what I have to spend. What's the best mic I can get for this?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's cheaper, until before you know it, you've got some sort of makeshift studio that's putting out more quality.
Yeah.
Right. Voiceover is about the quality of sound, and you have to keep that in mind when you become a voiceover actor. So it is an investment, and going the cheap route. I mean, there may be some cheap mics that every once in a while might sound good in your voice, but basically you're going to have to make some kind of investment, like you would if you were in any other industry. Right?
Yeah.
So these are important tools, and not necessarily cheap, but not totally expensive either, but they're great quality. And they were meant for voiceover.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of good mics out there. I mean, I go with Neumann and Sennheiser exclusively, but they have competition for a reason.
Yeah.
Because there are other companies making great microphones.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of companies, Blue, AKG, and when I say Blue, the higher end of Blue. Don't come in here with a snowball or a Yeti and no, no. Hey, listen, we are at an hour. This went by so fast. At some point, I want to have you guys back and do this again.
Well, we love it.
I want you to just tell me one thing. What's a good reason for people to go to That's Voiceover, or this year it'll probably be stay home and go to That's Voiceover on the internet?
We still want you to go to That's Voiceover.
Yeah.
Even though you're at home, we want you to like astroplane into the experience because we are busy cooking up stuff that's going to make a difference in your career. Why go? Because we're all about making a difference in your career. That's why there are jobs offered there. So that everything you learn from great talents like you and all the other panelists is in the context of getting real work. It's not theoretical. So you're in an environment where you're already auditioning for the audition spotlight. You're already auditioning for ACX to do audiobooks.
Speed dating with your demo reel.
I was going to mention, we hadn't mentioned that, and I think that's one of the best things that you guys do is let people get a chance for professionals to listen to and critique their demo reels. People send them to me all the time. It takes me a while to get to them. And I'm surprised by how many bad ones there are, or the talent might not be bad, but the production is bad because they're trying to save money. Oh, I don't have $2,000, but it's $2,000 well spent.
But you know what? The speed dating actually is really invaluable because what people might not understand is an agent's job is not to critique your demo reel on any given day. They don't give you feedback. And when you ask for feedback from an agent, they will dismiss you because it's not their job requirement.
And they don't have time.
And not only that, it takes work. It is work to do that. So what people are really asking an agent is, will you sign me? But instead of saying that, you're saying, critique my demo reel.
Yeah.
But speed dating is actually an environment where you will get that critique. And that's the difference. So everyone that does speed dating, the casting directors, the talent agents, everyone has been prepped. They know that they're going to be giving you feedback, what they normally don't do in their everyday life.
Yeah.
So it is a special time. And out of that, people get signed every year. People hook up with casting directors that start sending them out, and people have gotten jobs, and I don't mean just little jobs. I'm talking Dateline NBC jobs, talking the Emmy Award, campaign for the Emmy Awards. We're talking all kinds of things. Speed dating got created in 2012, and every year the criteria keeps going up. And the
line gets longer for people who want to get in it.
Because it's truly an opportunity that otherwise you would never get to speak with these people, most likely.
Yeah.
None of them.
Yeah.
And when we first started Speed Dating, we were really thinking it would be a place for folks who were trying to break in to get some feedback. But what we learned very quickly was that the agents and casting directors and producers that you're bringing are high level. They don't want to sit around and talk to people about what my job is as an agent. They're looking for talent.
They're actually looking for
And so we really up the ante. So we vet all the reels that come into speed dating and make sure that people are
Up
agent
to a
ready.
certain level, yeah.
Yeah. So if you get into speed dating, it's already because 3 people have listened to your demo reel and feel like this person's got chops.
That's right.
Yeah.
But also it helps people that are beginning because it gives them a criteria to jump into, as opposed to let me go on Mandy, let me go on Pfeiffer. But like, oh, there's this regulated world in voice acting. That's the world I want to be in. So I'm not necessarily going to go into the unregulated world thinking I'm going to get to the regulated world. It kind of doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Your radar tends to get dull when you're in that unregulated world. It takes something to jump ship.
Yeah.
And it's become a nice little watering hole, oasis for the agents and producers because they are actually finding good people and passionate talent and voices that they hadn't thought about before.
That's
So
right. They're ecstatic. And we always go diverse.
we used to work hard to get that side of the table filled, and now those people are like, no, I want to be there.
I have seen it every year. It has grown, just like everything you guys touch. Every year, it's bigger, it's better. I promised you I let you out of here after an hour. It's 7:05. I've kept you beyond that, but it has been such a pleasure. I love you guys, not
Thank you,
only
brother.
as voiceover people and industry leaders and thought leaders, but just as friends. I
Yeah.
miss when the show comes to town, and on that Monday afterwards we can all have dinner and a drink and just kick back at the pad.
Yeah.
And I look forward to doing that again.
Me too, Dave. Hopefully 2021.
Live and in person.
2021 live and in person. So I'm gonna let y'all go, and let me wrap up a little business that I have here. You don't have to hang up off the Skype yet, but just another reminder: if you'd like training with me, DaveFennoy.com, you can book yourself. If you haven't picked it up yet, if you just don't have one, no, you can't have mine. Secrets of Voiceover Success is still in print. It can still be found, and the proceeds go to help the Alzheimer's
Association.
Association. Once again, take some classes with me. You get 20% off at Connection Open. And we will see you next week with Scott Brick. All the best, everybody. Bye-bye. Oh, and this will be on YouTube, as they always are, and on Facebook. So, see ya.